Okay. What do you feel like doing when you don't want to go to sleep at 2 in the morning? That's right, you read fan fictions. Hello everyone and welcome to this dreadful live stream. What can I tell you? Oh God. Lord help us all. Let's get some nice calm tunes in here. Yes? Alright. This fan fiction is called Playtime is Over. This is surprisingly really long. Oh my God. Yeah, so this is called Playtime is Over. The soft glow of the white fluorescent light bulbs that hung across the ceiling provided a cool color form around the blank, empty, and gray concrete walls of the interrogation room. Little to no sound was present, with the sole expectation of buzzing noise coming from the light bulbs. The area itself was just as empty as ever, only a few chairs and a table were in the middle of the room. Despite being devoid of any kind of proper furniture of any sort, there was one small blue penguin. I can't read this. By the name This is gonna be dreadful. Oh. This is gonna be really hard. I'm sorry. I'll compose myself. Despite being devoid of any kind of proper furniture of any sort, there was one small blue penguin by the name of Pablo, who sat in one of the chairs with a blank expression on his face. His entire body was almost covered in bandages, bruises, and an eye patch was covering one of his eyes. As he continued to sit quietly in his chair, the sound of the interrogation room doors opening practically woke him up from his trance that he was in. There you go. Good morning, Pablo, a well-dressed police officer said as he entered the room with a female detective. Pablo only nodded slightly before looking back down at the table. Did you sleep well last night? The female detective, a bright orange fox with blue eyes and painted pink claws, asked. So this is someone's twisted furry adventure. No, Pablo muttered under his breath. I see, Pablo. The female detective grabbed a small pen and notebook out of her pocket and began jotting down notes. Well, do you remember who I am? The detective asked. Pablo looked back up at the detective and then back at the cop, who had bright smiles on their faces, and tried to remember. However, he had only met her once, so he had a rather hard time remembering her name. So I don't think so, I'm sorry, Pablo said, as he lowered his head in shame. This is also a criticism, but each paragraph doesn't even have, like, punctuation on it. Only half of them do. It is okay, Pablo. I understand that it takes a while to remember names. Plus, with all those wounds on you, I don't think remembering names is too far up on your list, the detective answered. My name is Detective Maria Pablo, and over there is my officer, David. Before we start with the interview, would you like to go somewhere more comfortable, Pablo? We only need you in here so that we can run a few more tests and scans in the lab. Pablo looked up at the detective, smiling down at him, and shuffled a bit into his seat. He certainly wasn't very comfortable being in a dark, cold room, and the stiffness of the metal chair he was sitting on certainly didn't help. He gave a small nod in approval before being escorted by the flipper to a much larger room down the hall of police station. As they entered into the room, Pablo saw that it was certainly better than he had expected it to be. The room itself was painted in a bright blue and pink pattern across the walls. Large pictures of various rides and cartoon characters were lined up in small rows, all about 3 for each wall. There were multiple toys scattered throughout the room, with the large toy chest particularly overflowing of various toys and games for children of all ages. However, the one thing was for sure to Pablo: he was much too old for most of those things. In the middle of the room there was a sofa surrounded by 3 rocking chairs and a large wooden table in the middle of all. Needless to say, it was a very well-made room. A lot nicer than that blank, gray, and lifeless interrogation room he had been in earlier. A lot is not one word. Oh god. Detective Maria grabbed a hold of Pablo's flipper and led him to one of the rocking chairs and sat him down gently, as to not cause the already injured avian any more kind of pain than he already was. Once they had both settled down, the detective immediately pulled out a recorder from her pants pocket and turned it on. May 24th, 2013. Time, 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subject: interview Pablo. The detective spoke into the microphone part of the recorder. Pablo looked at the recorder with a hint of confusion on his face. Detective Maria immediately noticed that he had the young... Okay, this is so hard to read. What the fuck is wrong with this? Said to the young blue penguin, "Oh, you don't have to worry, Pablo. It's just for our interview, that's all." "Okay, but..." Pablo began, but stopped halfway through. "What is this, sweetie?" Detective Maria asked, concerned. "Well, this is what I was... You know, I'm doing this tomorrow morning. I don't want to do this now. I'm too tired to freaking read fanfiction. It's freaking 2 in the morning. Great stream. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.